Right, you ended part one by saying the rest was history, but you haven't opened your first shop yet, so tell us about owning your first betting shop.
First betting shop, I mean, I was a betting shop trainee manager at 18, running a shop by the time I was 18 and a half, and a council estate that was. Jeepers, some of those punters. Oh, we used to do about 2,000 tickets on a Saturday afternoon in this particular shop at Wally Mills, and 2,000 tickets in a betting shop is a colossal amount of bets, and the average bet was about £2. 5 pence each way, number 7. If cash, 10 pence each way, number 8 in the next race. I used to take a bottle of paracetamol into work every Saturday. Anyway, yeah, so 10 years later, I bought my first betting shop. A little terrace corner house that had been converted to a betting shop next to a pub. Didn't pay much for it because I hadn't got anything. I'd have got about £1,000. I paid him a beg, steal and borrowed from mum and dad and my auntie who'd got a few bob. She had a rich husband. I paid them all back, even my parents. Fred Doan started the same way. He begged, steal and borrowed to open his first betting shop. And look where he's ended up.
Wow, tell us a bit about Fred Doan.
Fred? Yeah, Fred and I were good pals. I went to work for him. My third job as a betting shop manager. He begged me to go and work for him. He headhunted me from Mark Lanes. Yeah, we got on quite well. And he promised me many, many things. He was going places, and he certainly did go places. Nobody can argue with that. And I was going to be going with him as his general manager. They only had 3 shops. Peter, his brother, ran one. Fred ran the head office, and I just bought a shop off a guy called Malpas near Salford Docks. And I was put into there to manage that. Yeah, it was good. It was a nice shop. I built it up. It badly needed a shop fit. He didn't have the money to do the shop fit. So it was a pigsty. Anyway, he promised me that, it's in the book list, he promised me that I could be his general manager. As he developed, I was going to develop with him. I'd end up being his right-hand man. And then one day, he worked for Ernie Peters, a bookmaker, a Blackpool guy who had shops in Salford and Manchester. Him and Peter both worked for Ernie Peters. And then all of a sudden, as with most of Ernie Peters' managers, he must have paid good wages, they all owned their own shops. I would never have had enough money at that time to buy a tobacconist kiosk, never mind a betting shop. So I should have got a job with Ernie Peters, shouldn't I? Anyway, I went working for Fred in this shop. He promised me that I was going to be his general manager. Then one day, Peter Doan, his brother, and this guy called Les Churn walked in my shop, and Peter said, "This is Les Churn." I said, "I know this guy." I said, he used to manage the shop round the corner from where I worked in the city, Manchester that is. And he said, "He's our new general manager." Well, you could have knocked me over with a feather. I said to Peter, "Can we talk somewhere privately?" Yeah, what's the matter? I said, "Don't you know what's the matter?" I said, "You brought this geezer here now as the new general manager, i.e. my boss, and all I've come here and built this shop up to do is to become your general manager, as I was promised by Fred." I said, "And now you've kicked me in the ghoulies." I said, "I'll tell you what, here Pete, there's the keys, run the shop yourself, I'm off." And I walked out. And I said to him, "You owe me a few quid for last week or this week's wages, post it on to me."
So when you sort of fallen out with the Doan organisation, but you were a contemporary.
They fell out with me.
Well, they fell out with you, but you were a contemporary of theirs at the time, and you weren't shying and offering to buy other people's betting shops, were you?
I ain't got any money.
But when you progressed a bit, you would happily walk somebody
No,
and say,
I built up a business. In total, I had 12 shops. Bought and sold and bought and sold them. I ended up with 5 top grade shops. It's like my racecourse pitches now. I don't want pick 30 at Ascot National Hunt. I've just bought pick 3 on the rails. I'll be there on Saturday. I think it's a great buy. Bought it off Wharton Slaney. Nice chap, Jerry. Yeah. Won't mind him buying me a meal at some stage. Right. Yeah, so...
So did you actively go looking for good pitches for betting shops? Because like you say, it's all important having a good pitch.
Well, I started off at grassroots, because that's all I could afford. But I bought my first pitch in my local town. A lot of people knew me. And a lot of people come punting with me, because I gave them a good deal. I nearly went skint, and I had nothing to nothing to lose, because I didn't have anything really, so to speak. But when Red Rum won his 3rd national, Jesus, that nearly wiped me out. I couldn't believe it. I stood it for the sweep, because I didn't believe any of us could win the Grand National 3 times. What a mistake that was. That was a reversal. You asked me about reversal.
But most of the time, obviously, the punters must have lost because you built a small
I'll tell you what
empire.
happened. I got lucky. My mother's luck, actually. There was a shop, where I had this shop, there was a triangle of 3 shops, all independents. And a guy called Norman, who had one, it was like a triangle of 3 shops. One very good shop doing about £6 a week. They were all cash, it was no credit with me. And another shop doing £3 a week, and our shop was doing £3 a week. So the triangle, which was a 1/4 of a mile sort of radius, there was 12 grand worth of business under 3 roofs. And that was a colossal amount of money. One betting shop taking 12 grand a week in those days was worth a small fortune. And I thought, I'm going to have all 3 of these shops. I'm going to throw the keys away for 2 of them, and I'm going to end up with the best shop, which was owned by a guy called Keith Davis. I actually went into it. What happened first, Norman, I can't remember his surname, he had one of these shops. He was doing 3 grand a week. Come in, introduced himself, and lovely man, churchgoer. He said, how are you getting on with this? I said, I've only had this place 5 minutes. He said, will you buy my shop? I said, what with? I said, I ain't got any money. He said, I'm not bothered about money. He said, my wife's put a gun at my head. I either get out of the game, because she's a churchgoer, or she's going to divorce me. He said, I love her to bits. Oh, I said, how much do you want for your shop? I said, I know it's doing about the same amount as I'm doing. Well, he said, how about 4? He said, how much you've paid for this? I said, 1,300 quid. Guy called Alf Blake, ex-Demi employee. And I said to him, right, I haven't got 1,400 quid. He said, I want 1,400 because it's a bit better than this, what you've got. I said, well, I'll take your word for that. And anyway, cut the story short. He said, have you got 200 quid? So I said, yeah, give me 200 quid and pay me 100 quid a month for 12 months. I thought, Jesus, that's a good offer. I thought, but hang on, I said, Norman, I can only be in one place. Nobody's going to come and work for me, I'm a nobody. I said, let me think about it. I said, come and see me again in a couple of days. And I got itchy feet. Anyway, there's an old mate of mine who used to come in the Fred Doan shop that I managed. He had a paper shop across the road. He was a semi-professional footballer, played for Lancaster City. His name was Ken Donegan. So I told him the story about Norman. And he said to me when I left Fred, I kept in touch with him. And he said, look, if you ever want a partner, I'm your man. So I said, I'll bear that in mind. I said, but I can't see that ever happening. I said, I haven't got 2 bob. And anyway, as the story went, I rang him. I said, look, I told him the story, what I'd done with this first shop. I said, there's a geezer around the corner who wants to sell me his shop now. I said, I ain't got the money. He said, I've got the money. I said, well, you buy that shop. I said, he wants it 200 quid on down payment. I said, 100 quid a month for 12 months. I said, it's a gimme. I said, I can't sleep at night. I've got to get 200 quid together and some staff. And I said, but the easiest option would be for you to come in. I said, I'll have to give you a crash course in settling bets. And he'd come on board. He bought that shop and we made a partnership. It lasted about 7 years. And then I had bigger ambitions than him. And he wasn't sort of ambitious, very ambitious at all, to be honest, and that's what caused the split. He went his way, I went my way. We split the business in half. He's dead now, unfortunately. Anyway, what was I saying, Sam?
You were saying about the business. What I want to know is punters. Most punters would have lost money to you. Did you ever feel sorry for like people that come in every day, your regulars?
Listen, I'll tell you something. I've paid out on course on winners that's got disqualified, and not one punter has ever brought that money back. So, have I got a guilty conscience about people losing money? Ask me another.
Did you ever ban winning punters from any
I did,
of your
actually.
shops?
I did.
Were they a bit thinner on the ground in those days, winning punters?
I had a lovely guy, an absolute gentleman, called Barry Cash. Barry Cash, what's his surname? He lived in the next village to me. Lovely man, and I gave him a credit account. I'd trust him with my life. And he used to he was a market trader in Oldham Market, selling cakes, pies, that sort of stuff. He lived in a fantastic detached house in Cultures. His house would have been worth, in Surrey, his house would have been worth 10 million today. Anyway, he got cancer. Oh no, he died. He come on to me and said, can I give you a deposit and ring you up with bets? I said, of course you can, yeah. I said, anyway, he gave me a grand or whatever. Anyway, I know well, more often than not I get it right. 99% of the time I get it right. I can pick an honest face out, and I like dealing with honest people because I've never been anything but myself. And anyway, he rang up and he lost and he lost. It's the same guy that won 30 grand off me when United did the treble. I led him 30 grand to 3. He's a big United fan. That was the only problem he had. Fergie's Follies. Hated them before they won the treble. Geez, anybody mentions them now, I spit at them. So,
I
love it now when City stuff them every match.
No, you've been a very successful businessman, but things that have suffered a bit, and this isn't a secret because it's in your book, have been relationships a bit. Now, is bookmaking to blame? Does bookmaking go with sort of long marriages and things like that?
I've never married once. What are you talking about? You've not read the book properly.
Yes, I
I've got married and I've got 2 lovely sons with that lady, and we still speak to her. I mean, she's forgiven me for doing what I did. I was only a betting shop manager when I was married to her. Didn't make any money. I'd found out about the price of a pint. I was too young. Got married. I made her pregnant with David, and we got married. We didn't have a bob. Anyway, it didn't last. It lasted about 10 years. I had 2 lovely sons, and they both work for me now. Colin's been with me right through it. David's got his own taxi cab business. He just bought a brand new 6-seater Mercedes taxi. Cost him about 40 grand. I asked him for a share and he told me where to go. But he's coming to Ascot with us this Saturday. Colin will be there. The WADEY family will be there in bulk. And I mean bulk round my stomach as well.